What's up, guys, in the works, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the M16, and I know you're like, Jake, you hate the M16. Well, it has been patched. DICE finally sat down and gave us a little bit of an M16 nerf in the patch, and I know all you guys out there are raising your hands in the air and praising DICE for what they've done for us, because so many people seem to absolutely despise the M16, yet in the same respect, so many people tend to use it. And I think the reason why the M16 is so heavily used is because it's really not outclassed in any scenario. It's good in close quarters, it's good in medium range, in fact I'd say it's a really good medium range, and heck, it can even reach out the long range if you have to. So that's why it seemed to be the assault rifle of choice for most players. You know, skilled or unskilled, it seemed to be an all-around solid weapon, and that's why so many people used it. Well, DICE added some more recoil to it, and what you see me using right now, this gameplay that is actually pre-patched. This is before they added any recoil to it. I got this last night before the patch went live, and you can clearly see that it's just the normal old M16. There's very little recoil, it's really easy to control, and it's really good in close quarters. And I think a lot of people overlooked that when they use the M16. You know, they're like, oh, it's not really overpowered. And I think the only reason why it wasn't truly, quote, balanced is because it lacked a weakness. There was really no weakness you could find in the M16. Yeah, it could lose some fire rate battles to some of the other high fire rate assault rifles, but for the most part, very few situations really made the M16 seem like it was outclassed. Now, let's move into some post-patch gameplay. They've added more recoil, the weapon seems to behave just a tad bit differently, and honestly, I can't notice a lot. I'm gonna be blunt. There doesn't seem to be a lot of difference. I think the added recoil, most skilled players will be able to compensate for that no problem whatsoever. You won't see too many people who have used the M16 a lot struggle with the, quote, new M16. So, it's still pretty much the same. I mean, the recoil does make it a little bit harder at medium to longer ranges to stay on target. It's not as easy to just sit there and go full auto. You do have to burst fire a little bit less, if that makes any sense. You can't burst fire in like 6, 7, 8. You might have to go 5 rounds before you have to kind of compensate for the recoil. So as far as making it a little bit more balanced, yeah, I think they did do that, but I think for the most part, if you're an M16 fan, it's still going to be the M16 you guys know and love. And I'm curious to see how you guys have experienced this, though. For those who have downloaded the patch and spent some time with the M16 or gotten killed by it, have you really noticed a difference in the usage of it? Because one of my theories is if they patched the other rifles, which a lot of other assault rifles did get patched, that more people would spread their horizons out a little bit. They do some other weapons. You know, the M416 is now really powerful. I did a video on that earlier today. And I think that's going to be a good alternative to the M16 because now it is the most controllable of the two. I think if you're comparing those two, that would be the most comparable, or the most controllable would be the M416. So perhaps that's a candidate for a showdown down the line because those two are they seem like they're just like connected at the hip. Everyone always wants to compare those two rifles. So let me know though, have you guys really noticed a difference in the M16 for those who have sat down and gotten some time to play with it? Because I, as a player, have not really noticed a whole lot. I consider myself above average, and I've had no problem whatsoever at medium range controlling this new, quote, recoil. So, not so sure DICE did an awesome job. At least it's something. I mean, a lot of players had wanted to see something happen to the M16. I know a lot of people were getting frustrated because they felt like DICE wasn't really listening to them, that they felt like the M16 just made the game boring. But here you go, guys. This is what everybody wanted, so hopefully everyone's satisfied now. I think there will be a more variety of people using other weapons, but I still think you will see a large amount of people, especially if they've used it, you know, beyond a couple server stars, will still stick to their M16A3. But if you missed any of my other videos, I put up an AC-130 gameplay today, which is really cool, so check that out. And before that, I also did an M416 post-patch comparison where I talked a little bit about it, similar to this video, so check that one out too, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.